Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be going to chapter 11, lesson 12, as you can see right here, convert metric units of mass. The pages you're going to tear out are 871 to 876. Put your name at the top of it right here. And of course, when you're done, you'll be putting a staple up there. So, the essential question that we always ask right before we do is why are we doing this? And of course, it's because how can I use measurement conversions to solve real world problems? And today, again, we'll be using metric units of mass. All right. So I believe the last time we were here, we were using liters and milliliters. So now we're doing uh, mass. Mass is the measure of the amount of matter an object has. We talked about that in science at one point in time. Again, it's how much stuff is inside of something. It's not necessarily what it weighs, but it's just how much stuff is inside of it. So let's go ahead and move into the lesson here. All right. We have a white-tailed deer has a mass of 136 kilograms. Okay, so here's our kilograms. Okay. What is the mass of the deer in grams? So down here at the bottom, so if we look down here at the bottom in our key concepts, we have 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams, and 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. So really, the only thing you have to really kind of think about is you have 1 gram, 1,000 milligrams. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. All right, and to put those in comparison, of course, a milligram would equal a breadcrumb. Not a whole lot. A gram is about the weight of a paper clip. All right. And then a kilogram is about the size of a loaf of bread. All right, so those are all things to put it in comparison. So we're going to be using this down here quite often when we're doing this. Okay, so let's go back up here to the top. We have 136 kilograms, and we need to know how many grams that is. All right, so it says here you're going to convert 136 kilograms to grams. So if we were looking at this and we said, well, 136 kg is kilograms, by the way, and we need to convert that to grams. The idea still works, the exact same. You know how we talked about going from a big to a small, and as you can see here, a kilogram is a lot bigger. It's just bigger than all these milligram and grams, right? Just think of a kilo. So this is big, this is small. And remember, when you go from a big to a small, you're going to multiply. So all you got to realize is at 1,000, right? So that's what you're going to take. You're going to take 136 times 1,000. All right. And, you might look at this number, you might look at this number and say, oh, that's a big number. Well, again, you just take your 1 and your 136 and you just say 136 because 1 times 136 is that. And then you would add on 3 zeros to the end of it, right? 3 zeros because there's 3 zeros right there. So you have 136,000 grams. I've said before, doing it this way, um, well, here, 136. Doing it this way, you really you look at your zeros and you add that many. You just multiply the numbers together and then you add those zeros on. So, I mean, I think it's fairly easy, a lot easier. I had a talk with, my wife and I were talking about this, and I said that, well, metric system, I always refuse to teach it. But then I realized, well, it's actually really kind of easy. So I don't know why we don't. And if we checked it, we have 136,000 right here. Again, if we just take off the zeros, right, because we're dividing, we just have 136 divided by 1, which equals 136. So see, it's fairly easy to do. So let's look at the next page, example 2. We're going to convert 1,500 grams to kilograms. Okay. And since we are converting a smaller unit to a larger unit, so again, if this were written out like this, 1,500 grams is equal to how many kgs? Well, this is a small to a big. We're going to divide. So we just take 1,500 divided by 1,000. Okay, remember 1,000 is really all you got to think about. So you're just deciding if you're going to divide or you're going to multiply by 1,000. So again, you would say, well, how many times will 1,000 go into 1,500? It'll be one whole time. So this is 1,000. right? You subtract that, you get 500. So the remainder is 500. It kind of sounds funny saying that there's a remainder of 500. But the remainder of 500 means that there are 500 grams left over. All right, it doesn't really fit inside of the whole kilogram because you got to have 1,000 to have a kilogram, right? So the decimal part of a kilogram would just be zero point 0.5 because it's half. 500 is half of 1,000. So 1,500 grams is one whole kilogram, and 500 grams, or you would say 1.5 kilograms for that one. Okay. Let's look down here at the guided practice. 500 milligrams is 2 grams. So again, you got to think about, well, which one's smaller, milligram or grams? If you look here, again, you're going to say milligram is the smallest. Okay, so this is small to a big. We're going to divide. Remember, I'd write that on your page somewhere. I'd say small to a big, you're going to divide. Big to a small, you're going to multiply. Just to kind of give you, it makes it easy then. Are you going to divide by 1,000 or multiply by 1,000, right? So this one here, we're going to divide by 1,000. So again, when we're dividing by 1,000, we just start taking off zeros on each side, and now we run out. What's 5 divided by 1? 5. So 5,000 milligrams is equal to 5 grams. Okay, number 2, kilogram and grams. Well, guess what? Kilograms is big, grams are small. So we're going to multiply by 1,000, right? So 5 times 1,000 is 5,000. So 5 kilograms equals 5,000 grams. 4,000 grams to kilograms. Well, we know grams is smaller than a kilogram, so we're going to divide by 1,000. So 4,000, so we start taking zeros off. You don't have to do this, but I do it. Now it's 4 divided by 1. It's 4. So 4,000 grams is equal to 4 kilograms. Again, grams to milligrams. We know that grams are bigger. Kilograms are the smallest. We're going to multiply. So what's 9 times 1,000? You get 9,000. So 9 grams is equal to 9,000 milligrams. Talk math. Which is more reasonable estimate for mass of a baseball? 140 milligrams, 140 grams, or 140 kilograms? So which one is more reasonable? So if we think about on this page here, a deer weighs 136 kilograms. Okay, so think about it, 136. So do you think a baseball is going to weigh 140 kilograms? No. So that's not a reasonable explanation, right? Now, a paperclip is a gram. A breadcrumb is a milligram. So you think 140 breadcrumbs is going to weigh that of a baseball, or the weight of like 140 paperclips? So you kind of look at it and kind of put it in comparison and say, well, it looks like 140 grams would be the closest for a baseball because the 140 would be way too, that'd be like a wiffle ball almost. All right, let's look at the independent practice here. Okay. 2,000 milligrams to grams. Again, I would write up here big to a small, you're going to multiply. A small to a big, you're going to divide. And that'll help you do this whole thing. Milligram or gram? Well, you know, milligram is the smallest. So S and B, we're going to divide. So you're going to divide that by 1,000. Remember, it's either multiply by 1,000 or divide by 1,000. That's all you're doing today. So again, you can cross all these zeros out. What's 2 divided by 1? Well, that's 2 grams. Gram to milligram. Remember, milligrams are the smallest. So anytime you see milli, it's the smallest. So we're going to multiply. All right, so we're going to multiply this times 1,000. Well, what's 8 times 1? 8. How many zeros are there? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 80,000. Okay. 7,500 hundredths kilogram to milligrams. Well, again, we know kilogram and milligram. We know that this is bigger and this is smaller. So we're going to multiply. All right. So we're going to multiply this by 1,000. Now, here's the question. If we take this right here, Remember, we can just move the decimal over now. When we're doing these, we can move the decimal over. When you're multiplying, you're going to move it this way. So when you multiply by 1,000, there's 1, 2, 3 zeros. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3. Put the 0 in place of it. So the decimal will go right there. So you're going to have 750 milligrams. All I got to do is move it over. This one right here, kilogram to grams. Remember, this is bigger. This is smaller. So we're going to multiply by 1,000. This is easy now. What's 6 times 1,000? 6,000. All right, that's easy. 3,100 grams. So this is the biggest. Kilograms are always the biggest. This is smaller. So we're going to divide by 1,000. So we divide by 1,000. So we can go ahead and start crossing out 2 of those, right? So now we basically just have 31 divided by 10, right? So how many times does 10 fit inside of 31? 3 times, which gives us 1 left over. So no, we have 3, right? We have 3 kilograms left. And then this 1 basically just means we have 1 left over out of all of them, right? So you can just say that is 3.1 because it's a tenth, because it's 1/10. So 3.1 kilograms. Right here, kilograms is biggest, smallest. We're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply this by 1,000. Again, all we got to do is move it over. 1, 2, 3. So that gives us 50. Grams is bigger because milligram is smallest. So we're going to multiply, right? So take this times 1,000. Again, all we got to do is move the decimal point over, guys. 3 spaces. So we go 1, 2, 3. So it's 4,070 milligrams because that's where the decimal would be right there. 9 kilograms, this is the biggest because it's kilograms, this is the smallest. We're going to multiply by 1,000. So what is 9 times 1,000? That's 9,000 grams. Fairly simple. Now we have the greater than or less than greater than or equal to comparisons to make this a true statement. So I'm going to probably do the easiest because I'm going to say, well, I'm going to convert these grams to milligrams because I get to multiply. That's all I really want to do. So 2 times 1,000 is 2,000. So it's easy to see that because this would be 2,000 milligrams, right? So you can see 2,300 is a lot bigger. Same thing with this one. I'm going to convert this one times 1,000. So you can get 3,000 grams. So you can see that they're equal. On this one here, again, I'm gonna multiply by 1,000. So if I start out with 4.5, and you do times 1,000, that's 3 zeros. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. So I have 4,500, which is way bigger than 4,050. So that one's bigger. This one right here, again, I'm gonna multiply this one by 1,000. There's 3 zeros, so 1, 2, 3. So 4,120, 4,120. Hey, they're equal. This one here, you should be able to look at it and say, well, if I multiplied this by 1,000 to give me milligrams, well, that's going to be 1 times 75 is 75, and there's 3 zeros, so that's going to be 75,000 milligrams. So it's way bigger than 800 milligrams. And then down here at the bottom, we have 814 grams again, or kilograms. So I'm going to convert this kilograms right here. So I'm going to times this by 1,000. So again, it has a decimal, so I'm just going to move it 3, 2, 3. So we have 8140 or 814. Obviously, 8140 is way bigger. So 8.8 and 1400ths kilograms is bigger than 814 grams. Backside the problem solving. All right, so we have this table, blue and gold. These are macaws. The weight of these. Green winged, red footed, yellow collared. All right. So, how many yellow collared macaws would have a combined mass of 1 kilogram? So, we have yellow collared, so 250. So, 1 kilogram. These are in grams. So, think about this. How many grams is 1 kilogram? Hopefully, you remember from the other side that's 1,000 grams. Well, these are all grams up here. Okay. So, how many of these 250s would you need to get 1,000? Hopefully you look at that and say, well, 250 plus 250 would be 4 of them because 4 times 250 equals 1,000 grams. Okay, so 4 would be your answer there. You need to have 4 of those yellow collared macaws. Is the combined mass of 2 red-footed macaws and 3 blue and gold macaws closer to 3 or 4 kilograms? So if we add them, we have the 2 red-footed, so we have 525 and 525. So let's add 525 and 525 together. That's going to give us 10, 5. Okay, so it's going to give us that. And then 3 blue and gold macaws, so 800 times 3, so 800 or plus 3, but we're going to times. So that's going to be 0, 0, 2400. So we add those together, 2400 plus 1050. That's going to give us 5, 4. Okay, so this is grams, okay? Grams. So I don't know why I put a period there. Is it closer to 3 or 4 kilograms? Well, if you look at this again and you say, well, 3,450 grams, we need to convert that to kilograms. Well, this is bigger and this is smaller. We're going to divide. So we have to divide this by 1,000. 1,000. Again, you could start here and move it over to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. So you get 3.45 kilograms, right? So which one's that closest to, 3 or 4? Hopefully you would see that it's closer to 3 kilograms because you'd have to go over on this one by the 5, and we're not there yet. Which macaw has a mass closest to 1 kilogram? Well, again, 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. So which one's closer to 1,000? Hopefully you would see that the green winged. Okay, and again, I'm looking for you whenever I look at your assignments that you filled all these out, guys, in its entirety, so that you don't, just fly through it and then you get to the homework and you don't have anything done on it. 1 pound is approximately equal to 0.5 kilograms. About how many kilograms is 3 pounds? Okay, so you'd basically take this right here times 3, right? You would say, well, that times 3. So a lot of you guys struggled on this the other day when you did this. That's 15. That's 0 plus 1. There's 1 space here, so you'd have approximately 1.5 kilograms for that one, kilograms for that. You could just said a 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5, and obviously you would have seen that that would have been pretty easy to find. All right. How is converting metric units of mass different from converting customary units of weight? Well, obviously, with metric units of mass, you just have you just have with so this is just mass. Basically, the number 1,000 to divide or multiply, right? And customary units, you have all these others like 16s, you know, because 16 ounces are in a pound. So you got all these different, there's 2,000 pounds, tons in a, or 2,000 pounds in a ton. It's just all these different numbers, and with the metrics, all you have is just the number 1,000 to deal with. So pretty easy. So again, you're going to want to use this chart down here at the bottom for sure. But remember, all you're really doing is deciding if you're multiplying or dividing by 1,000. So, I would write on here again, when you go from a big to a small unit, you're going to multiply. And when you go from a small to a big unit, you're going to divide. I'd write that on there for 1. And then just decide which one's bigger and smaller. Obviously, a milligram, I'd go through and say anything with milli is the small. Okay, small, right? Anything with a kilogram is the big. All right, kilogram, big, biggest, right? Pretty easy. And then you can decide then, well, so the gram would be bigger here because the milligram is the smallest. The gram is the smallest here because of kilograms. So you can kind of do this and fill these in, uh, whatever's left over. All right, so I kind of gave you guys a good start there. Now you just need to decide if you have to multiply or divide by. And remember, if you're dividing by, you're going to move the decimal that way, however many zeros you have. Okay, so should be fairly easy for you guys. And then on the back side, use this the front page for your your vocab. So, guys, have any questions? You know where I'm at, and or you know where your teacher's at. You can ask them if they got any questions. So, thanks, guys.